Hello, everyone. How you doing? Yes, I've been noticing your comments coming fast and furiously. Fantastic. Um, how are you all doing today? It's actually a beautiful, gentle rain falling in this part of Britain. Very spring-like. Everything's very green, bursting into life. I love this kind of weather, actually. Um, let's just say hello to a few people here. Um, Moya, hey Moya, hi from rainy County Kildare, Clark. Let me just move something here so I can see you. There we go. I hope you're well. Shattered Dreams will always have a special place in my heart. It was the song that started my love of all things Shane Clark. Thatcher, thank you very much, Moya. I appreciate that. We've got Sylvia. Hello, Clark. Looking forward to your Journey songs again. Love the stories behind the songs. Hope your mom is doing good. Greetings from Holland. Thank you very much indeed. Um, Miho, glad to see you again. Thank you very much, Miho. Nice to see you as well. Um, Paul, hey Clark, you've left the lantern door open again. Paul, you're on the payroll now, man. That's very, very. I always do that. God, thank you, Paul. Who else have we got here? Um, Pete, hello Pete. Looking forward to hearing the story of Shattered Dreams. The bit where the key change and percussion happens still gives me the major feels. Nice one. Thank you. Primavera Groove. Hello Paz. Hi Clark. To all the lovely people here, finally the truth about Shattered Dreams is revealed, and it is indeed. Hugs, greetings from Chile. Thanks a lot, Paz. Thanks for joining us. Um, Martin, hi Clark. Couldn't wait to listen to your music live again. Just listen to your Magnetized album. Cool. Looking forward to Journey songs again. Thank you very much, Martin. Um, Angie, hi Clark from wet and windy Cornwall today. Obviously, in this part of the world, that's what it is. Hi Roz, Shattered Dreams should have been mine and Warren's first dance. Oh yeah, well, that's a story and a half. You'll have to do your own Journey songs, Roz, to tell those stories. Um, so many people here. Skullcrusher de Leon. Hi, Clark. Greetings from Guatemala in Central America. Hola. Thank you very much for joining us. That's wonderful to have someone from Guatemala. I love that part of the world. Um, Lizzie, hi from Perth, Western Australia. I've loved since I was 14. How wonderful, Lizzie. Thank you for joining. It is late there, or is it incredibly early? Thank you for staying up. Folks, I'm going to. One more, actually. Jamie. Hi, Clark. Great to see you again. School Dreams conjures shattering. School Dreams. I read something else lower down. Shattered Dreams conjures up many emotions in me. Asked a girl to dance with me at the school disco. She said no. Broke my heart. We are still friends many years later, Jamie. That's very cool. It's probably I don't know why I'm laughing. It's probably quite a sad story, actually. Folks, I'm just going to dim the light a bit because it's a bit, considering it's Shattered Dreams, it's a bit full on. Okay. Everyone, I'm going to come back to your comments. Thank you for inundating them, uh, inundating me with them. Good heavens, tongue tied today. Nikki, hello Nikki, how you doing? Best wishes to Nick as ever. Escaped for a few days away with my dogs in Norfolk. Nick is at home, but sends his love. Looking forward to this, darling. Thank you so much, Nikki. Great to hear from you, and like I say, hope the whole family are doing good. Okay, I'm going to start here, folks, with a reminder. You might have seen on my YouTube page that I posted that at 6 o'clock UK time today, so that's in less than an hour, there's a very short premiere on my YouTube channel, and that is this. www.youtube.com/Clark Datchler official. So when this is ended, I'm going to try and end, obviously shortly before 6 o'clock UK time. I'm going to ask you to jump over to that channel where you don't normally see Journey songs, but it is where Journey songs is going to move to on YouTube because I'm now getting into solo territory, and I think it's only fair that I do it on my own YouTube page. So go over there. There's a little greeting for you. This is the premiere with some music. And also you'll be able to hear the song that I'm going to be looking at next week, next Journey Songs episode. And you can listen to it all week on YouTube and get familiar with it if you're not already. Okay, So we'll come back to that. So, very important, jump over to youtube.com/Clark Datcher Official, premiere 6 o'clock UK time. Subscribe to the channel would be great. I'd appreciate that. And if you want to watch on YouTube, that's going to be the place from there on in. Very quickly, on Facebook, just it is as it is. Keep watching on Clark Datchler. When I do Johnny Hates Jazz songs, which I will, I'm going to be doing Magnetized and Wide Awake as well. They will be on Johnny Hates Jazz Facebook as well. So we'll get there. Okay. Everyone asked, or a few people asked to see a picture of me and my mom. This was taken a few years ago, actually. I do have a more recent one, but I only just found it. It was a bit too late to upload it in that time. This is a few years ago when Mom was a bit more active, and as you can see, she's very smartly dressed, and we had a grand day. It's one of the few. It was one of the last days actually where she was, really able to get out and do that kind of thing. So I remember that with fondness. But she's doing well, everyone. So thank you for all your good wishes. Now, folks, if you see me looking down here, I've actually got a screen in front of me with my software on with which I am live streaming, and I've got notes on here just so I remember to cover all the things that I want to cover. But you know what I need to do first? Cup of tea. Digestives behind me. I know, I've said it before, a bit plain, but I still think they're great. Okay, now let's turn to Shattered Dreams, then I'm going to come back to some messages, okay? Shattered Dreams was the first song I wrote for Johnny Hates Jazz, because when I joined to become the singer of Me and My Foolish Heart. But Foolish Heart was not a hit, and I said, okay, let me go away and write something, because I've been a songwriter for many years. But originally I just joined as a singer because this track existed. So I went away and I started working on my piano. Now, that piano is still in this room, and unfortunately I can't move the camera without messing everything up, but it's over there. And I call that, it's a Kemble, which is an Old English make. And I've posted this picture before on social media, but for anyone who hasn't seen it, that's the piano that I wrote all those songs on from Turn Back the Clock. It's a great piano, still here. And I call that piano Young Spirit because I think it was probably built in the 60s. And the piano behind me, my Steinway, is nearly 112 years old, and that is Old Spirit. Okay, so let me explain how this happened, because I have said this in interviews before. I'd been writing in this room on that piano for many years, and my family had to endure my various songwriting explorations, some more successful than others. And as you know, my dad was a professional musician, very successful. And although his taste in music, of course, was of his time, just as mine was of my time at that time, he always sought to support me, and we met very much in a place where I had great appreciation for some of the jazz greats that he performed with and listened to. Nat King Cole, Ella Fitzgerald, Count Basie, these kind of people, Charlie Parker. So Dad would leave me to my own devices when I was writing on the piano, and he would make comments if I asked him for comments. But when I was writing Shattered Dreams, it was the first time he knocked on the door and came in. So this is my dad in 1955 in one of the bands he was in at that time, the Stargazers. And he came in and looked at me and said, "What is that you're writing?" And I said, "I'm thinking of calling it Shattered Dreams, Dad." And he went quiet and he said, "I think you've written your first hit." And that had a profound effect on me, because in some ways, I needed that affirmation from him. I needed him to say, "You're on the right track," because I would trust it. He would never say that to me if he thought otherwise. He would never just try and make me feel good about it because he knew how tough it was to get into the music business. And he would just tell me as it was, very straight ahead, and that really served me well. In other words, if I wasn't doing great in what I was doing, as a vocalist, as an example, he would be very critical because he'd want me to strive more and to reach higher, and it worked. So I have a lot to be thankful for to my dad. Um, and interestingly, within the music business, I heard that from very few other people that Shattered Dreams was going to be a hit or that it was even good. So many people thought it didn't have a chance, including Calvin's father, Mickey Most, the well-known producer. I've mentioned him before, who Mike worked for as engineer at Rack Studios, and I was signed to as a singer-songwriter before Johnny Hates Jazz. Even Mickey, who we all had great respect for, just didn't see it. In fact, he said, "If that record is a hit, I will stand naked in Selfridge's front window for a day." Selfridge is a big department store, kind of like Harrods in London. Um, and ironically, that was the one that took off. And I certainly don't say that about Mickey with any malice. He was really good to me. Um, so, I had this song, and I then had to turn it into a demo before I played it to Mike and Calvin, and then we started to look at going into the studio. So I was thinking, who could I explain as the biggest influence on me when I wrote Shattered Dreams? Cup of tea. This is a moment for tea before I reveal this. Oh, I hope you're doing all right, everyone. I'm going at 100 miles an hour here because I want to finish my this premiere that I set at 6 o'clock. I set it at 6 o'clock, folks, because I know for some of you this is very late, and I don't want you to have to wait up even later if you're going to watch this little premiere. Um, so, when a writer writes a song, this is the way I see it. We pull from four different places. One is our conscious mind. We're really thinking about what we're writing. The second is our subconscious. We're not really aware that certain things in our subconscious are having an effect, which is very true with Shattered Dreams. Then there's the collective conscious. Now, the collective consciousness really was me being a young man of my time. You know, I was very plugged into what was happening musically at that point in time. Just as young musicians right now are plugged into what is happening in music these days, which probably for a lot of us we just don't get at all. But for them, you know, it's their moment. They are connected in that way. It won't last forever for them, just as it doesn't for any of us. And then, of course, there is what poets call the muse, or the energy field, or the ether, whatever you want to call it. It's some other sphere, dimension, where you often hear writers say they're practically channeling something. Something is being given to them. And in some ways, I think with Shattered Dreams, it's probably a combination of all of those. But when I say about the collective consciousness, this is where I'm going. There were records that really influenced me in the 70s and 80s, but I'm going to mention a few of them quickly. I Can't Go For That, Daryl Hall and John Oates. Phenomenal record. Revolutionary in terms of electronic music. I know I've mentioned this before. People bang on about Kraftwerk, fine, but I Can't Go For That was actually a great song, and they were great vocalists, and it was a fantastic record, still is. So that's fundamental. Then Thompson Twins, Love on Your Side. No, I'm not talking about Doctor Doctor or Hold Me Now or any of that stuff. That's fine, not really my cup of tea. Love on Your Side, because I was a bit of a soul boy. Love on Your Side just got me into electronic music completely. That was the track. Incredible record. Then what else have we got? We've got, I know it's not like Shattered Dreams at all, but Forbidden Colours, David Sylvian and Ruichi Sakamoto, the theme tune to Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence, was my favourite record actually of the 80s, but that had a profound effect on me, just how sorrowful pop music could be, if it's fair to even call it pop. Um, then there was, ironically, Mike and the Mechanics, Silent Running. Great record. It was an honour to work with Mike many years later, but that had a big effect on me. However, the record that I think really affected me the most in how I formulated how I wanted Shattered Dreams to sound, within the context of what we'd already done with Me and My Foolish Heart, was David Bowie and Pat Metheny, This Is Not America. That song was, of course, very much of its time, but it still makes me, I don't know, brings me into some kind of altered state. It's beautifully recorded. It's very interesting how Bowie sang it. It's so vulnerable, even though he's an incredibly forceful singer. Excuse me. But really, there was some kind of combination that of that record that really had some kind of, again, subliminal, subconscious influence. Even though I owned that record, I owned the 12-inch actually, I think. Fantastic record. So I then took this to Mike and Calvin, and both of them got it. You know, they were like my dad, really got it. You know, this is the one. Like I said, many other people didn't. We kept hearing it. 2 people at Virgin Records did. I've told you about them before. John Wooler, our A&R man, and Caroline True in the video department, who got us signed through John Wooler to Virgin Records. She was so important. She actually went on to become George Michael's personal photographer and is a very high-ranking professional photographer to this day. Caroline True, if you're watching, Caroline, much love to you. Okay, so then, folks, I'm zooming forward here, as you can tell. It was time for us to go into the studio, and I've got a lovely picture here of the band in the studio. Let's see if I can make that bigger for you. Yeah, that's good. This was for an article, a magazine article on us. So actually where I'm sitting, Mike would normally have sat because he was the engineer. Calvin would be there often as co-producer with Mike. And I would wander about, you know, playing keyboard, singing, whatever, and downstairs on the grand piano, often writing. And obviously then we'd be in that direction, you know, me and Calvin doing keyboards, you know, me and Mike working on the bass, whatever it is. So I've got another picture, really just for the loveliness of it. This is a picture from looking from the mixing desk at the back of the studio of me and Mike. Me playing, if anyone's familiar with it, an Oberheim OBX8 was a fantastic keyboard. Excuse me. It took a lot of work to get Shattered Dreams to the place that it finally arrived. One of the things that was toughest with the record was actually the bass part, and there I was telling you, I think it was in Hero, how I generally wrote the bass parts as part of the songwriting process, which is true. But Shattered Dreams somehow didn't feel right with the pulse space that I had. A pulse space is this very common in the 80s. Now it actually is in there, but we superimposed another bass part on the top of it. And anyway, along with other things, we finally got there with that record. You know, I'd like to think that from my songwriting abilities and Mike and Calvin's production abilities, we really hit the target with that one. So let's just go to a few messages, because I have been racing on here. You know what? The worst thing you can do, folks, before going on stage and singing live, especially a song like Shattered Dreams, which is really high, is talk. because you can talk yourself out of having a voice. And I learnt that the hard way. I did that quite early on. I talk too much because I do tend to. So, anyway, here we go. David, oh my God, agreed. Clark, Bowie, and Pat Metheny was an incredible record. Exactly, David, very much so. Hello, Lax, how you doing? Looking sharp as always, Clark. Well, thank you very much. Um, Miko, OBXA, I think that's a thumbs up. Thank you, Miko. Yeah, it was a great synth. Went out of tune a lot, but that was the age of Lisa. Clark, do you also like Wild as the Wind by Bowie? I love it. It's a fantastic track, Lisa. Don't get me started. Fantastic, beautiful record. That part of Bowie really spoke to me. A lot of parts of Bowie did, but that kind of very melancholy side to him. Mark and Kirsty, hi Clark, just dashed back to listen to tonight's instalments. Phew, I made it. Rustled up, beans on toast and a brew on the go. Loving the stories so far with regard to your dad. Shattered Dreams to me is a timeless song, and this lured me into JHA. That's my fave Bowie track. It's quite mesmerising. Excellent influences. Thank you very much, Mark and Kirsty. We've got here Fatima, and Mike is looking away from the camera, of course. Don't ask me why. We've got Annie. Hello, Annie. How you doing? I hope you are going to do an episode on Boudica Cry. I would love to hear about the process of writing that. Annie, great question. Boudica Cry is a song from my album Tomorrow, solo album. That is coming. Yes, it's a bit of a song, though I say so myself. So yes, Annie, we'll definitely do that. David, love what you are doing. Keep up the great work. Love it. Thank you very much, David. I will. And thank you for supporting me, being part of this. That's what makes it all possible. Neil, Wild as the Wind is my favourite of his, and I'm a huge fan. Good one. Another great choice. Okay. I'm going to leave it there for now because I can tell everyone's going off on their Bowie binge. What's their favourite Bowie track? It's just so easy to do, isn't it? Time for another. I've been talking so much with this one, as you can probably tell. Okay, I'm looking back actually because I actually have another computer here with this on live. I'm checking that it's actually going out, and you are seeing what you're supposed to see, which is great. Okay, so we got signed to Virgin Records. Long story. I've told you a little bit about that before, but basically, then the cover of Shattered Dreams, the photograph for me is the most iconic Johnny Hates Jazz photo there is, alongside the original cover of I Don't Want to Be a Hero, as I told you about a couple of episodes ago. But it took a long time to get that photograph. Simon Fowler, the photographer on that session, our lifelong photographer actually, and Rob O'Connor, our artistic director, who did all our album covers, single covers, still working with Rob, both of them dear friends. If you think about the album cover, or the single cover, sorry, the single photograph is this. This is not what ended up exactly on the single cover, because then Rob stepped in and worked his magic, but this was the photograph. But you got to think that, it took a long time to get to that point. This was a Polaroid taken in the early stages of that session, which should show you how hard I was working to smirk. I don't like people who smirk. There's a lot of, I have to say, there are quite a few very successful musicians these days that seem to smirk a lot for some reason. I don't like smirking. And I had to do it for this one photo session. And eventually there was only one image that was the one. All the other ones were just not quite right. The look wasn't quite right. So that, I think, probably is the most iconic Johnny Hates Jazz photograph. So, how are we doing? We're doing all right here. How are we all doing? I think I've got time for a couple of... Annie, you mentioned Caroline. Wales' Caroline True has taken the most stunning pics of George. I love George, meaning George Michael. Yes, she has. She's done fantastic photographs, and she was very close to him. Um, okay, Sarah, absolute favourite cover. It's the hair. Thank you very much. Yes, it took quite a while uh, for it to become the hair that it was. Thank you for that. Um, Robert Paul, I found something similar between David Bowie and Johnny Hates Jazz. I found that both of them are the legend. That's so sweet of you, Robert Paul. Thank you. That's very touching. Um, what else have we got here? Ruth, I still have the original copy of Shattered Dreams and all your posters. That's great, Ruth. Well, hopefully one day they'll become, very valuable and they'll become a family heirloom. Who knows? I'm not sure. So let's get to the meaning of the song. Because, folks, in reality, I think we all know that Shattered Dreams is a heartbreak song. And as much as you've known me over the course of these previous 7 episodes to talk about bigger subjects that I write songs about, and I continue to, there are some songs that you just can't deny are love songs or heartbreak songs. Now, in my long life, I have experienced shattered dreams and I've caused shattered dreams. And haven't we all? I mean, that is part of the chaotic journey of experience that we all embark upon when we arrive here on planet Earth. And so, in telling you more about what it's about, there's no judgment here because I now see it from all sides. But when I wrote it, I told people in interviews that it was about divorce. And that was really me reaching for something to encapsulate the song within. I didn't know anything about divorce. Fortunately, at that time, I didn't. So, um, it seemed to resonate with the subject because it was a very kind of um, song with a sense of finality about it. It was a line drawing song. Um, but then after a while, I started to think that, okay, maybe this is something from my subconscious. And I started to feel that maybe it was about my experience in the music business because I'd had a rough ride up until joining Johnny Hates Jazz. I'd been very fortunate that I'd had people support me in different ways in the business, of one or two people. Um, Rusty Egan from the band Visage was one of them. Mickey Mose, as I told you earlier. And but a lot of closed doors and a lot of negatives. And in some ways, I think that that was true. There was something in me that was pained by that, pained by the reactions I got. Sometimes they were quite unkind reactions from the labels. Sometimes the people in those companies are lacking in human skills, shall we say, but not always. Um, but then, actually, very recently, I thought, well, maybe there is something else in my subconscious that is relevant to this. And I wouldn't usually tell a story like this because it seems a bit young. But I'm going to share it very briefly with you anyway, because I think subconsciously it must have affected me to write a song like Shattered Dreams. I was 14 years old when I met my first girlfriend. She was a year or two older than me. And it was my 14th birthday. She had been the girlfriend of the school captain. No matter where you're from, you kind of get the picture. He was probably 18 and, and a bit of a hunk and, as we would have said back then, very sporty and all the rest of it. Anyway, she comes out of that relationship and a little while later meets a guy who's a year or two younger than her. I mean, he was just 14. And we hit it off and became very close. Now, unbeknownst to me, that means little did I know that there was someone that I knew who I regarded as a kind of friend who actually had been in a couple of bands with me before he was a musician, who was eyeing this, I think, with some envy. So you got to remember I was just 14 years old, inexperienced and naive, and I got a call from him one day saying that he had seen my girlfriend with her previous boyfriend at a fairground, and I wanted to double check: was that true? Was it not? Yes, absolutely. He saw it. It happened. So I didn't know what to do. I'd never come across this before because I was young. So I sought advice, and at that time, my brothers didn't want me to be heartbroken. They said, "Look, you should walk away." So I finished it. And as I finished it, she implored me to listen to her that it never happened, that the guy was lying. And I didn't have the maturity to trust her and say, actually, maybe that is what happened. I trusted him more because I'd known him longer. Um, so it ended, and I was actually really heartbroken. Some months later, I was informed that he was now dating her. And that was quite crushing. And that was really part of, I think, something that found its way into Shattered Dreams. Interestingly, years later, I became successful. And I had a couple of messages from him asking me to help him with getting into music, as I said he was a musician. And I never did, because what goes around comes around. So that's one of the stories, I think, that went into the pot of creativity that created the song Shattered Dreams. We're doing very well for time here. I've really raced through this. So um, let's see what else people are saying here. David, the 12-inch version of Shattered Dreams is awesome too. Always look forward to the JHJ remixes. Yeah, the 12 inches were in general really good, weren't they? I really agree. Um, Richard, this is a great question. Who was Ronnie Prowse mentioned on the cover? Richard, that is such a good question. I love it that you asked that because you're really paying attention to detail. I think it says, thank you to Ronnie Prowse for his spiritual and financial guidance. Ronnie Prowse didn't exist. He was a manager that we invented because Virgin Records at the time couldn't handle dealing with a band that managed themselves. Us, we managed ourselves, didn't have a manager. So every meeting, they had to sit in front of me, Mike, and Calvin, being very difficult and awkward because we were artistes, and they couldn't handle it. So they asked us to get a manager. So we created this manager called Ronnie Prowse, and I did his voice. So we would get phone calls from Virgin, and I'd get on the phone like this, and I'd be Ronnie Prowse. I'd say, "Don't worry, the lads are good as gold. I'll sort them out. They trust me. They trust me. Just leave it with me." And this went on and on and on until one day we had a call from our A&R man, John Wooler, who we were very close to, and I was doing Ronnie Prowse's voice. And John just suddenly said, "Clark, is that you?" And of course I burst out laughing, and we all did because we were around the phone as I was doing this. And that was the end of it. John said that he would try not to tell anyone else, but I think it got out that Ronnie Prowse didn't exist. So there you go. Thank you for that wonderful question. I really appreciate that. Richard, thanks for that question. Um, so, okay, what have we got? Jeroen. It's really wonderful to hear all these stories, Clark. Thank you, Jeroen. It's never, it's always a little bit difficult to know what will resonate and what will not. I can only be honest, about my experience, and I think that one is for real. Zena, I love the story. Not nice of that person to do that to you. He was just jealous of you. Yeah, you know what? I think that was the case. If I'm to take another perspective, maybe that wasn't the case. Maybe that actually really happened. I don't know. All I know is when I was younger, I wanted to be older because, and this is before this happened, I wanted to be older because I had a feeling I was going to have to go through some difficult experiences to achieve the place where I am now, where I'm happy and I'm around people that I'm really happy to be around and with. And yeah, I like being older. Okay. Who else have we got here? Helen. Oh, Fatima. Sorry, I love this story. Thank you, Fatima. I was obviously meant to click that one. Helen, thanks for sharing your stories with us, Clark. It's nice getting to know you better. I'm really glad. I hope you feel that way. That's fantastic. Eric, this manager story is absolutely the best. I think I'm going to make him my spirit guide. Yes, Ronnie is still around, and I do seek out his advice and guidance, whether spiritually or financially, every so often. I highly recommend him, Eric. He doesn't come cheap, though. Ken, the music of Shattered Dreams captures the dark mood and tension someone feels in a stressful situation when on the cusp of losing something, and it brings you to that place. The production still sounds fantastic and represents a high point of music production combined with songwriting, which is rare these days. Thanks, Ken. You make very astute comments, as you all do, but I know, Ken, you tend to go straight for the musical side of it. And yeah, I think it's really high production values on that one. Mike and Calvin did great. Yeah, these days, nah, things have changed, and that's another story for another Journey songs. um, Paul, even though you were only 14, we all become young and vulnerable again when our dreams are shattered. All our sophistication is lost in one moment. So the song still resonates years later. Yeah, well put. Very well said that. Um, Sonny, did you ever talk to the girl afterwards? No, that was it. That was it. Sorry, that was kind of a simple conclusion to that. Um, okay, so there's a lot of other messages here, but I think it's time. Oh, I like this. Hang on, Anthony. Did the US record company get more behind you when Shattered Dreams started going up the charts? Well, the US record company got behind us when they saw what a huge hit it was around the world. Remember, it came out a year later, well, nearly a year later, than in the UK and the rest of the world. The US often did that. They sat back, waited to see what happened, and then decided what they were going to release in the US. So Virgin America, as it was known then, um, had observed how well Shattered Dreams was doing and were convinced it was going to be huge in the States. So they didn't need to be told, or they put a huge amount of effort into it when it came out in the US. Regrettably, as I've explained before, I left soon after. I left the band soon after, so the subsequent singles couldn't really get the promotion that they deserved. Anyway, but they did a good job. So, now this is interesting. Sonia, brutal performance of this song. David Cook, an interesting style. Your song is very universal and can sound in different shades. I don't know, I can't remember, Sonia, if I answered you on Facebook. I might have done, because someone asked me if I liked any other versions of Shattered Dreams, and the only one that I really like is by David Cook, who was the American Idol winner of 2008, and he performed it live on one of his tours. And it's like a metal version, almost a thrash metal version. It's really good because it's got a lot of anger and power in it. As you're probably aware, I recorded 4 versions myself, obviously at least 4. The original Johnny Hates Jazz one. There's an acoustic version I did on the B-side of Crown of Thorns that I did with Candy Dulfer, the sax player. There's a version I did on my album Tomorrow, which is like a soul version. And then there's the acoustic version that me and Mike did for the 30th anniversary edition of Turn Back the Clock. So I obviously think highly of the song as well. It means a lot to me. I'm proud of that song. Okay. It's time for the song itself. So much for your promises. They died the day you let me go. Caught up in a web of lies, but it was just too late to know. I thought it was you who would stand by my side, and now you've given me nothing but shattered dreams. Feel like I could run away from this empty heart. said you'd die for me. Woke up to reality and found the future not so bright. I dreamt the impossible, that maybe things could work out right. I thought it was you who would do me no wrong. And now you've given me nothing but shattered dreams, shattered dreams. Feel like I could run away from this empty heart. You've given me nothing but shattered dreams, shattered dreams. Feel like I could run away from this empty heart. Yeah, yeah. From this empty heart, yeah. I thought it was you who said they'd die for love. And now you've given me nothing but shattered dreams, shattered dreams. Feel like I could run away from this empty heart. You've given me nothing but shattered dreams, shattered dreams. Feel like I could run away from this empty heart. Oh, no, no, no. You said you'd die for me. Oh, oh, die for me. There we go. I got through it. I wanted to do a combination of different versions that I've done, so that's a kind of a combination of the one that me and Mike did, the acoustic version, and then the acoustic one I did on my own many years previous, and then the actual record itself. Got there. Okay, everyone. Let's see if we've got some. Alice, the melody is addicting. Thank you. Well, it is one of those melodies. You know, it's impossible to know how those things come. For me, anyway, as a writer. Neil, beautiful high notes, great performance. Thank you very much, Neil. I appreciate that very much. Julie brings back so many memories. It's one of those songs, isn't it? Ferdous Hussein. Hello, Ferdous. Piano version, live, Shattered Dreams. Very good play and sing. Thank you, Clark. Thank you. You're very welcome, man. Thank you for joining us. I really appreciate that. Alex, my friend, I take it that's a positive. I hope it is. Thank you, Alex, for joining in. Mandy, amazing. Thank you so much, Mandy. Nikki, beautiful, Clark. Thank you, Nikki. That means a lot. Lizzie, massive memories. Zena, thank you for spending this time with us. You're very welcome, Zena. What we got here? Nikki. Oh no, who else was doing the harmonies on the record? It was just little old me. Well, at a time when I could sing higher than that, that's, as you would understand, Nikki. That's a high note. I have to take a deep breath before doing that one. Vicente, so beautiful song, Clark. This happened to me once, but that's life. It is, Vicente. It's how we learn and grow. It really is. Rosie, thanks, Clark. You're very welcome. The Magic Star 80. I still listen to the best of album, recorded it on an audio cassette and play it over and over again. Very addictive tracks. Thank you very much indeed. Pranav, this song and Don't Say It's Love get to the heart of what made the Johnny Hates Jazz formula so potent. Melancholy cloaked in an up-tempo vibe. Nice one, Pranav. As totalities and recordings, I'm with you. They were the two tracks that really got it. You know how I feel about Hero as my favourite song, but as a totality, the records, those two were the ones. Yeah, I really agree. Um, oh, I like this, Marek. The clock has been turned back. Thanks. You're very welcome. Okay, folks, I'm gonna. I really. Where are we? Marcus, listen to Shattered Dreams so many times, but after your story today, the song seems so much more powerful. Thank you, Marcus. I'm glad. That's the point of Journey songs. Okay, folks. I'm going to now just talk about what's going to come because although I've completed the songs that I wrote on the Turn Back the Clock album, um, we tend to separate things between, albums and decades and, eras of our life. That's kind of natural. But of course, it's not like that. One thing flows into another and becomes another. So I'm now going to go into the realm of my solo work as well as Magnetized, the Johnny Hates Jazz album of 2013, and Wide Awake, the newest Johnny Hates Jazz album. But there's going to be a lot of solo material as well because there's news about what is happening with that, which you will hear very soon. But because I'm going to be focusing on a lot of solo material now, I just wanted to make the point that this was an onward going journey from me leaving Johnny Hates Jazz and moving through the 90s, 2000s, and rejoining. So it's very connected. In actual fact, the song that I'm going to be covering next week was the one song from my solo album Rain Dance that I actually wrote whilst I was still in Johnny Hates Jazz. It was meant to be the first song of a second Johnny Hates Jazz album that never happened with me. So it's quite poignant because when you listen to the lyrics, you will understand what it's about. So in order to continue with Journey songs and focus on some of the solo work, I'm going to be moving from Johnny Hates Jazz's YouTube page to my YouTube page. So once again, there it is. I'm all set up. And so, folks, in about 10 minutes, there's a very short premiere, a welcoming video that I've done for all of you who choose to go to the Clark Thatcher official YouTube page, and I hope you'll subscribe. I hope you'll enjoy the welcoming video. It's got some cool music in it, and you'll be able to listen to the song "It's Better This Way" there and read the lyrics, and you can familiarize yourself with the song throughout the week by going to YouTube, to my YouTube page. So for those of you who are not familiar with it already, obviously some of you are. So, interestingly, have you ever wondered what the music is at the beginning of Journey songs, at the beginning of each episode? Well, it's the introduction to this song, It's Better This Way. So it really is a continuation of what we've been doing. And I think you'll hear that there's a lot of a Johnny Hates Jazz vibe continuing on in my solo work of that time, the Rain Dance era. So I think you'll dig it. Now, okay, I've covered it. Good heavens, I did remarkably well, and we've got minutes to spare. So, folks, I will be there on YouTube, okay, for this very short premiere. I hope you'll come over, enjoy it, and I hope I will see you next Sunday for Journey Songs Episode 9. A continuation of this epic songwriting journey, and there's a lot more to tell. This is when it gets really interesting, people. I thank you all for joining with me on these first 8 episodes. There'll be many more 8 episodes to come, many more. So, see you soon. I'll see you next week for Journey Songs Episode 9. In the meantime, look after yourselves. Have a good week. And once again, big thanks for becoming part of my journey as well. All right, take care. Ciao. Adios.